Good evening and welcome to the Rory Talks Football channel. Welcome back. We've got the preview for the Leeds game today. Lots of news around Arteta's press conference, mainly. That's where we get most of our information from. Of course, your daily Arsenal news updates and a dose of my opinion. If you're new to the channel, please do drop a subscription. We just hit 500 subs. We're aiming for 1,000. So please hit the subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, smash the like button. Smash the like button if Arsenal are going to beat Leeds tomorrow. But look, yeah, lots to cover from Arteta's press conference. Leeds injuries as well, predicted lineups, predicted scores, all of that good stuff. If you're on TikTok, please join the YouTube through the link in my bio and subscribe, heroes. Welcome Skizzer to the chat as well. Lots going on. No, I do not have a ticket for tomorrow yet, but I am trying, desperately trying. The ticket exchange it's more barren than Spurs trophy cabinet. It really is. It's disgraceful. And it's painful. It's painful. It's been a painful day trying to get a ticket. A painful week trying to get a ticket. In fact, actually, last week I was complaining against Crystal Palace. About 15 hours I spent on the ticket exchange. In total, I tallied it as kind of just why not. 155 tickets came up before I got one. So 155 tickets came up, and by the time I clicked it, someone else had got it. This week, I've put in a similar amount of hours, and I reckon maybe 40 tickets have come up at max. It's been diabolical, so I still don't have a ticket. Got knee surgery today. Wish me luck. Good luck. Good luck with your knee surgery. ACL? Is it an ACL? Who knows? But look, let's get into the show. The press conference, Arteta, we've got every word of it on the Arsenal website. Interestingly, the first thing he was asked was how his birthday was. I guess that's polite. He was asked how his birthday was, what he did on it. He spent it with his family. He went back to his hometown of San Sebastian, had all the family there, and it was a really good way to celebrate. So that's nice. That's a heartwarming start to the show. On what his birthday wish was, he said, "You can imagine, but it's a secret." That Sky Sports interview with Gabby and Fabio was class. Yes. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, Sky Sports did an interview game thing with Fabio Vieira and Martinelli, and it is good fun. It's good fun to watch. On Saliba's injury, this is the big one. On Saliba's injury, he is progressing. He still has some discomfort in his back. We're trying to manage him in the best way possible, but unfortunately, he's not going to be fit for this game. We are trying. He's trying to do everything to feel better and get back into training, but not yet. That is not good. And on whether we'll see him back before the end of the season, I'm very hopeful, and he is as well. Back injuries are a bit tricky with how they evolve and the load that you put on in certain areas, but he's very positive about it. The medical staff are positive about it. Let's push it every day a little bit and see how he can cope with that and how the pain develops as well. He's obviously so willing to get back with the team. So that's not what you want to see. It's truthfully not what you want to see. The way that he said it, if you watch the press conference, he doesn't seem very stressed. I would be immensely stressed if I didn't know if Saliba was going to be back by the end of the season. So maybe he knows a bit more than we do, and maybe Saliba is definitely going to be back before the end of the season. But what he said is correct. It's back injuries are very weird. It's not the same as most other injuries. You know, if you pull a hamstring, you know roughly the timescale to get it back, and you know how to improve it. If you do your ACL, you know how long the surgery is going to take and the recovery after that to an extent. With back injuries, it's much harder to tell. And so it seems like, and we discussed this yesterday, basically the first scan that he had, very bad. The first scan that he had, which was when the news came out in France that he had a scan and it was much worse than they thought. At that point, they thought he was going to have surgery immediately, and it was the end of the season. That wasn't the case. And they've avoided surgery so far, but clearly there is still an issue there, and they're going to have to manage the load that they put through it. And so I assume what is going to happen is that Saliba will basically be reserved for the big games, for Newcastle away, Liverpool away, City away, Chelsea at home, and that's fine. Because Rob Holding, I think, will be fine in the other games. Rob Holding against Leeds isn't a problem. The worry for me is if Saliba will be at the races in those games that he does play. I find it I think it would be very difficult to come into a game against City, against Liverpool, having not played much and be at full pace. So that is something that worries me. It has to be said. That is something that worries me. Um, we'll see how it goes. What you don't want to do, of course, with a 21-year-old or 22, whatever it is, you don't want to make it worse. You don't want to end up giving him like a serious back injury that he never really gets over by trying to get him through this period. So they have to be sensible with it. Um, but it's just not ideal. It's really not ideal. True Gooner, welcome to the chat. We love a True Gooner. Again, if you're on TikTok, if you join the YouTube live stream through the link in my bio, you can get involved in the chat. That'd be much appreciated. On Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey bringing a fitness coach along to international duty. So Simon Murphy, our physio, went out to Ghana, as many of you will know, with Thomas Partey. Arteta says it's something we've done in the past. We have a really good relationship with the Ghanaian Federation, and we have to manage and look after our players. They've been really positive about it as well. We try to help as much as possible. I think it works both ways. Obviously, he wasn't fit enough to play in the second game, but hopefully he's going to be back for the weekend, which we know he almost certainly will be back for the weekend because he was in training yesterday. So we went over that yesterday. And look, it's good. It's actually very, very good especially with a player like Partey, where we know he has these injury issues. It's very good that that Arsenal and Arteta have a good relationship with the Ghanaian Federation. And of course, the manager of Ghana is Chris Hughton, who was a manager in the Premier League, and I'm sure knows Arteta. So that's very good regarding Partey. Ray Reynolds, welcome to the YouTube chat. What a man. Saliba is not out for the season. Whoever's just put Saliba out for the season, we've just gone over that. He's not out for the season, but he is out of tomorrow's game, and he might be out for more games after that. On the rest of the squad fitness levels and his thoughts on Rodri's tackle on Ødegaard in the international break. I was surprised someone asked him about the Rodri tackle on Ødegaard, but he said these things happen in football when they play against each other. The rest of them are all good. So basically, he skirted around the question because he doesn't need to talk about it. Kareem, hello. Welcome to the chat. I'm a new fan and your videos have been really helpful. Thank you. We try. On winning his 4th manager of the month. So if you missed it today, Bukayo Saka won player of the month. Mikel Arteta won manager of the month. Aaron Ramsdale won save of the month. It was a good month. Interestingly, the Aaron Ramsdale one, I think the player was offside in the build-up to it. 3 streams, 3 different shirts. Love the consistency. We've got more of these. We've got more of these in the locker, don't you worry. But yeah, so Arteta on his 4th Manager of the Month award after a blip in February. We needed results and performances. We got the results in various ways. In some games, we had to react and push ourselves to the limit to get the results. And in other ones, we were really dominant, won the games with a bigger gap. We have to continue to do that in every single game to try play better. And against Leeds, it's going to be the same case. So look, he's casual with it. He's used to winning Manager of the Month at this point, and he's right. It was we played 4, won 4, and scored 14 goals in March. It was arguably our best month. But within that, you had the Bournemouth game, which was ridiculous. You also had games like Fulham, which were very casual. He was then asked what his favourite moment in March was, and like the rest of us, probably Bournemouth, Reece's goal. That moment, that celebration, that hype we all had in that moment. I'm especially pleased with the consistency the boys are showing every single day, the way they train, the way they behave, the way they're playing, and the willingness and hunger to keep winning and winning. So, yeah, unsurprising that his favourite moment was the Reece Nelson goal, a goal that we will genuinely never forget. I think, obviously, if we go on to win the league, that goal will go down in history. But there we go. Someone just said Matey's never stepped foot in the Emirates this season, which is interesting because I've been at the Emirates every single home game of this season, as documented on the TikTok channel. But you're new around here, and that's okay. You've embarrassed yourself in the chat, but that's okay. Don't you worry about it. No, Tom, I have not secured a Leeds ticket yet. Fair play to you. If you've got a ticket for Leeds already, consider yourself lucky because I'm in for a painful evening. I hope tomorrow will break the manager curse. Yeah, hopefully. There is a curse on the last 4 times Arteta's won manager of the month. The game of the first month after it, he's lost. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. He was then asked on the unity in today's dressing room compared to his playing days. Of course, the dressing room is a lot different now than it was when Arteta was playing, especially towards the back end of Arteta was when it started tailing off. He said, "I'm really proud and happy to have developed the group of players and staff that we have together. It's an absolute joy to work with them every single day. I want to push it every boundary and limit and enjoy the challenge that we have ahead of us. It's the most beautiful part of the season, and we need to enjoy every single second and day of it. This is what we talk about every single day." So there you go. It's good. He wants them to enjoy. He wants them to enjoy it. He does. He wants them to enjoy. And it's difficult, right? It's very difficult to enjoy it when it's incredibly stressful. I mean, the fans are stressed enough as it is. I can't imagine what it's like being a player with that amount of pressure. But Arteta's just trying to get them to enjoy it, which is good. Josh Holborn, would you ever go on AFTV? Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. The answer is yes, and I will be. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. An AFTV appearance is due. Do you think Man City will batter Liverpool even without Haaland and Foden? We'll get on to that. We will get on to Man City and Haaland a little bit later. Continuing with the press conference, though, Arteta was asked on which dressing rooms from his playing days he's taken inspiration from. So he said, probably the one when I was 15 years old in Barcelona. We had 13, 14, 15-year-old boys. Some of them went on to become incredibly successful football players. We had to look after each other. It wasn't only in the dressing room. We lived together as well. We had our own issues, hobbies, our ways of being. That was phenomenal. Probably one of the biggest learning curves of my career in football, to have to try and take certain bits and experiences on board in your professional career. So that's interesting. The best dressing room he was ever in was when he was 15 at Barcelona. That is interesting. That it wasn't, Rangers or Everton or Arsenal, but when he was a 15-year-old. I think that's different these days. You don't see 13, 14-year-olds knocking around with senior players. On what he makes of Leeds. So moving on to Leeds now. They have a very clear DNA, how they behave, the character, the passion and energy that they play with. They've been doing it for a long, long time with a new manager and some new ideas. Some players that have been injured, that they've had issues with the back. So they're a very dangerous team. We've discussed openly and very clearly about what we're going to expect tomorrow, and we have to be really good to beat them. So obviously, he's playing up Leeds. He doesn't want us to take it lightly. I mean, in terms of them having players coming back from injury, yes, but they've also just lost Nonto. They've lost Tyler Adams. They've lost Maximilian Wober. So, I mean, for everything they've gained, they've also lost. What signings do you think we'll need for a decent UCL run? I think right back. Centre mid, and probably another attacking option that just increases our level at that point. Finally on YouTube. Yes, we are finally on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, I love you, but get on over to the YouTube and get involved in the chat there. Do you see Arsenal getting a result against City away? I do. I predicted a draw away at the Etihad. Arteta was asked if he's been impressed by Xavi Garcia, and he said they've been really good. I know him as a player, as he used to play in my hometown really well when I was a coach. He's a really good coach, really dedicated, thoughtful, and very clear in his ideas of how he wants his team to play. He can vary as well, as he has done at many clubs, with his way of playing and formation. So he's very adaptable. He's coached so many teams already, so that's shown the quality he has. And I think he has, so far, he has done really well. So, I mean, bigging up one of his own. What do you think of Leeds missing out on having Nonto and Adams? I think that's a big loss. To miss. I mean, Adams is arguably their best player, certainly a big player in their midfield. Nonto would have been a great outlet for them against Holding, assuming that Holding's playing. So I do think, it's not good for them, right? It would be the equivalent of us having Partey and Saka out, pretty much. So that's big for them. Arteta was asked if this, and this is big. This is really good news. If Gabriel Jesus is nearing 100%, he's very close to that. In the last 10 days, he's made a big step forward, and you can see that he is looser and he's not thinking about his previous injury. You can see in training that he's already creating that chaos that he's capable of creating, the unique moments. So he's in a good place now. So I am buzzing. I'm expecting probably Gabriel Jesus to start tomorrow. I think that was probably a hint that that's what he's expecting to do. And it's about damn time. It's about damn time. So buzzing for that. He was then asked on whether he enjoyed the women's team win against Bayern. So he was at the game on, was it, what night was it? Was it Wednesday night? Tuesday night, we beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League quarter-final. He said it was beautiful. It was great just to have the experience and live it there with the crowd we had at the game, and especially the way they played in the first half. It was a joy to watch. It was a big achievement. It hasn't happened for many years at the club, so we have to catch them up, and this is the beauty of it. Getting things inside the club that inspire each other and make us closer to the intentions and objectives that we have for the end of the season. So, look, he wants the men to take inspiration from the women, and rightly they should, because the women are in a Champions League semi-final, and most of this team haven't played in a Champions League game before. So it's big. It's big. And on that note, by the way, that women's game was unbelievably entertaining. Women's football has come a long way, and Arsenal's women's are trailblazers in that regard. Exactly. The goal from Frida Marnham was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable finish from her. On what puts Bukayo Saka's consistency, what he puts Bukayo Saka's consistency down to, he says it's about his mentality. I think there's been a real shift there in how much he wants it and how much he does every single day. And then obviously the maturity and acknowledgement about what to do in every situation. His decision-making is getting better and better, and he's making the right decisions more often. And as well, because he's very good teammates here at Arsenal and with the national team, and that's a very necessary thing to have, especially when you play in attacking positions. So noting, what Bukayo Saka's been doing at international level as well as at Arsenal, because he is killing it on both fronts. He really is. He was then asked about Arsene Wenger's induction into the Premier League Hall of Fame. He said it's no question, he deserves to be there, and I'm so proud of him and to have been part of his career as a player, what he did for the club and football in general. He's someone exceptional that deserves a huge place in the football world, and that is bang on. That is bang on. Wenger deserves that praise, and I'm glad he said it. And then he was asked if he still speaks to Wenger. He said, we're in touch. He's been trying to stay away, and that's the way he is. We're trying to bring him back closer and closer, and I think we've made some very important steps there, and his influence is going to be there. Some days his presence is enough. So that's interesting. Arteta's, he's talked about this before, how much he wants to bring Wenger back into the fold almost at Arsenal. And clearly, Arteta still values Arsene Wenger's insights massively. Wenger has tried to stay away as much as possible, but maybe now has been long enough for him to come back into it. I think if I was Wenger, maybe he's actually looking at this specific season and thinking, if I come back now, it looks like I've kind of just come back for the glory of winning the league potentially. But it'd be good. Look, I don't think having Arsene Wenger around the place, that experience, incredible value in it. Do you think Arsenal should start holding it in Saliba's absence or shuffle White to centre-back and Partey to right-back? We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll get onto the expected lineups and my predicted lineup in just a sec once we've finished the... there is a lot to get through with this press conference. I'm just going to start picking out the ones that are actually interesting. He said whether or not the players will be allowed to watch Man City, because, of course, the Man City-Liverpool game is before the Arsenal game tomorrow. He said our focus is on what we can control ourselves every single day. We love to watch football games, and for sure, if we can, we'll be watching them like any other manager or team, and it's a great game to watch. There's a little bit of a gap between the games, but when we get to our game, the focus will be on that and nothing else. So I expect they'll probably get time to watch the first half. What a boost, what a morale boost it'll be if City drop points, though. He was asked if Saliba's injury was something he'd been managing for a while, and he said, no, it's something that happened. We don't know if it happened in the previous game because he had a very awkward landing against Fulham, but before that he was fine. So it might have been something that was picked up against Fulham, but they don't really know what it was. And he was also asked why he can't give us more information on what the injury is. He said that's one for the doctors to answer and be more specific about the area and the load he puts into it, how he can cope, and the kind of pain he can handle. I mean, that's fobbing off. We don't get to have a press conference with the Arsenal doctors. So saying that it's one for the doctors to answer is... but I don't mind it. I don't mind it because it could be that Saliba's going to be fine. I don't mind the fact that he's being... I don't mind the fact that he's being coy with it whatsoever. Welcome to the chat, Rams. Good to see you. Good to see you. He was asked about David Rocastle. Of course, Rocky died 22 years ago today, I believe. A legend of Arsenal Football Club. Obviously, I was only 4 when he died, so never really got to witness him whilst he was alive. But a genuine icon at the club. And Arteta said himself, I was pretty young at the stage when he was at the club, but you can see the paintings and the pictures. And you have a lot of people that have come across him. He was a huge character, very charismatic person, and someone that was very much loved at the club. Um, and yeah, that's exactly what my opinion of him as well. On whether Saliba's injury could affect the rest of the season. So this is what a lot of people are saying, right? A lot of fans. I am Lenny. I'm 26. Some people say I look 13. Some people say I look 43 once they see the greys on the side. I've got the worst of both worlds. Basically, I've got a baby face and grey hair. It's gone badly. God has mocked me. On Saliba's injury, though, whether it can affect the rest of the season. So lots of fans are saying if Saliba's out for the season, that's it. Title hopes are gone. It's over. And Arteta said, I want to be positive. And I think that he's going to be able to manage it. I don't have the answer today to answer 100% that that's going to be the case. So, I mean, he's not really said anything about it. But I don't think it's season over. Even if Saliba was out for the rest of the season, I still don't think it's season over. I think people need to have a bit more optimism. Here's a fact for you. Here's a fun fact for you. There is only one player at Arsenal who has kept clean sheets both away at Anfield and away at Man City. Do you know who that player is? Rob Holding. Oh, Rob Holding, better than Cannavaro. Are you worried going to Liverpool? No, I'm not, I don't fear Liverpool. I know it's at Anfield. I don't fear it. I just don't think they've got it. And they've got to play. They play City away and Chelsea away before it. So I am not concerned. Obviously, I know it's going to be a hard game, but I'm not fearful of going to Anfield anymore. And I don't think the Arsenal players should be. Matt's just asked what he should have for dinner. Do you know what, Matt? I'm having a cottage pie for my dinner. Cottage pie, bit of broccoli, lovely. You should have the same. Why don't you make a cottage pie? He does grow a very good hairline. Well, Rob Holding's hairline. It's comeback of the century. He was asked about Frida Marnham's goal. He said it was beautiful. The moment the ball left her foot, we knew it was going in, so it was a beautiful finish. He asked whether he was comfortable with the amount of minutes that Bukayo Saka played during the international break. He said the players that are fit have to be ready to play at an international level. England had 2 important games, and Bukayo is becoming more and more important there. So you have to fulfill your role. Your role gets bigger, and you have to be able to fulfill that. And that's what he did. Shots fired. I think that answer was very much a little jab at some certain players, some certain other England players that dropped out through injury that are all going to play this weekend. I think Arteta was having a little jab at them. But look, it's good that he's supporting Saka at an international level. And Rashford, yeah, exactly. Alfie, thank you for the follow on TikTok, by the way. On if he has a message for the final 10 games. So this is Arteta's message to you, to me, to you, to all of us. This is Arteta's message. Live the day. Enjoy the day. Push on the day. And give us all the energy that they have, and the rest will come. That's what we're going to do. Give a real push every single day to get our best. So with their help and support, we are much better as a team. That's all we're asking for. Nothing different to what they've done the whole season. What a man. What a man. And we will, Mikel. We will give our energy. If I could get a ticket, If I could get a ticket, I'll be there. How about that? And then the final thing he said is how important the positivity of the fans is. And he said, what we do today, our message to them is that we perceive from them every single day. It's not only what we eat, it's what the players read. So all the positive messages and that feeling of support, energy, enthusiasm for the day to come, and enjoy what is coming. That is the most beautiful thing. That gives you energy, and that fills your desire to play in front of them. And I think that's important. I think when people start, when we hear news about Saliba and people's instant reaction is to basically jump on Rob Holding's back and say, oh, God, the season's over because we've got to play Rob Holding and this, that, and the other. I really do think Rob Holding's going to read that, and it's just not beneficial to anyone. It's not. Arteta's not going to read your tweet, right, that says Rob Holding isn't good enough to win us the title. Arteta's not reading that and going, oh, do you know what? He's right. The transfer window's shut, but I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll recall Trusty from his loan at Birmingham and we'll throw him in. That's not going to happen. The only possible thing in terms of the way it could affect the team is that Rob Holding reads it and it knocks his confidence. So I never really understand. Look, at the end of the season, if Rob Holding does cost us the league, and at the end of the season, then you want to have a go at him once it's actually happened, then fine. But it always annoys me when I just see unnecessary sort of hatred for Rob Holding, and it's not hatred. I mean, from some parts it is hatred, but Arteta, a man of the people. Arteta is a man of the people. He is my manager. But look, so that was the press conference, and the main things from it are Saliba injury isn't great. Partey is probably fine. And that was it. Actually, interestingly, he didn't mention Eddie and Nketiah at all, I don't think, unless I missed it. I don't think he mentioned Nketiah, which is, again, of all of the journalists that were there, I don't know why none of them have asked a question about Nketiah. It's what I would have done if I was there. But anyway, they didn't. So, moving on to the lineups. Predicted lineup. My predicted Arsenal lineup is as follows. Get yours in the chat. Let me know who you're predicting will play. But this is how it would be for me. Obviously, Ramsdale in goal. I'd stick with Ben White at right back. I don't think moving him to centre back and then finding a makeshift right back is a better option. So I'd start with Ben White at right back, Holding and Gabriel, Zinchenko, Thomas Partey, Granit Xhaka, Martin Odegaard, Saka off the right, Martinelli off the left, and I would bring back in Gabriel Jesus. And that's not a dig or a slight at Trossard, who's been absolutely exceptional for us, but it's actually it's a sensible decision, I think, to bring back in Jesus. If he is basically at 100% again, well, let's try it. Let's try it in a game that we should win anyway. Let's start him from the start. If he needs to come off after 60 minutes, that's absolutely fine. He wouldn't want to, but if he needs to, that's fine. And also, Trossard's been away with Belgium for the last 2 weeks. So if you've got a fit and a fresh Jesus who's hungry to prove a point, I absolutely think you should start him. And then you've got Trossard as an option that can come on in any of the front three roles. So that would be my starting 11, which is obviously that's two positions different from one position different from the game against Crystal Palace. Just bringing in Jesus. It's like when Jesus was injured and we only had Eddie, people started to worry and he proved them wrong. Exactly. I remember tweeting out, I think it was still whilst the World Cup was on, or maybe like between, or when the World Cup has ended, I tweeted saying, Eddie Nketiah, give him a chance. Just give him a chance. He'd been playing out of position most of the games he played through the season. And look, yes, there were a couple of chances he could have taken. But overall, he did us well enough to keep us in the position we're in now. So yeah, that would be my starting lineup. And then in terms of a score prediction, it was interesting. I was going along the lines of like 4-2 or something like that, because in my head, Leeds score lots of goals and concede lots of goals. But actually, if you look at their results, especially since Xabi Garcia took over, their last few results, so they beat Wolves 4-2 in that crazy game that was really entertaining. They drew 2-2 with Brighton, which was a good result for them. They lost 1-0 to Chelsea. They lost 2-0 in the FA Cup to Fulham. They beat Southampton 1-0. They lost to Everton 1-0. They lost to United 2-0. They drew to United 2-2, and they lost to Forest 1-0. So that's every result that they've had from February onwards. So it's not the case that they're really scoring lots and conceding lots. In fact, every game they've lost in that period, they didn't score a goal in. And the only games that they got points in were high-scoring games. So I do think it's quite interesting. And maybe 4-2 was actually the wrong decision from me. Now, Leeds do have injuries, big injuries. We talked about them a bit before, but Tyler Adams is a massive miss for them. Nonto, I think Nonto had been starting on and off. They're attacking, they've got a decent depth in terms of attackers, but Nonto is definitely an exciting player that I w- you know, if there's a player that they can lose that would be a threat to Rob Holding, it is Nonto. So losing him, and then they've also lost Maximilian Wober or Werber. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but I think he's played 10 games this season, so he's not like a regular, but it's a centre back that they've lost. So look, going into it, there's Arsenal have got to win. There's no excuses for not winning. Would their front three be Sinistera, Rodrigo, and Aronson? Possibly, although I don't. Does Bamford start? I think Bamford starts, right? He's on the thumbnail, so I hope he does. But yeah, they've got alternatives with Rodrigo and Sinistera in particular are decent alternatives. But it's pronounced Voba. It's pronounced Voba. Maximilian Voba. But yeah, he's injured as well, and that's been confirmed. So I'm actually now, in consideration, I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win. On TikTok, I said 4-2. I retract that, and I'm going for a 2-0 Arsenal win. That game could potentially put us 11 points clear. If Man City were to lose against Liverpool, yeah. So Man City play against Liverpool. They will either, at lunchtime tomorrow, after that, they'll either be 5 points behind us, 8 points behind us, or 7 points behind us. So if they get a draw, they'll be 7 points behind. But then we'll play and this is the thing, a bit of an advantage psychologically that Arsenal have in the run-in until City play their game to catch us up, is that we're going to keep going an extra game ahead of them, which is, in theory, if we can win them, it's going to keep that gap looking slightly bigger than it actually is. Because we'll have played a game more each time, which psychologically, if you're constantly chasing an 8-point lead, even though it's really only a 5-point lead with a game in hand, it makes it, I think psychologically, it gives us a bit of an edge. And that is going to happen basically until the end of the season. I think it's a good thing for Arsenal that they have the game in hand because the pressure's on, right? I mean, God, if they lose to Liverpool and then we beat Leeds, we go 11 points clear with that game in hand. But I mean, psychologically, to be over 11 points behind, or to be 11 points behind with 10 games to go, that would be huge. So yeah, no, I do think that having that extra game in hand is a good thing for us. But back to the Leeds game, yeah, I'm predicting 3-0. No, 2-0. 2-0. I'm 2-0. I'm going 2-0. 2-0. 2-0. Goal scorers, Saka and Gabriel Jesus. I'm backing Gabriel Jesus to score tomorrow. It's about time. It's about damn time. Yeah, points on the board. Look, we learnt last season that points on the board is always better than games in hand, right? So you saw me at the Palace game. Lovely, lovely. Hopefully, you'll see me at the Leeds game if I can get a ticket. But we'll see. We'll see. If you're watching on the TikTok, please do head over to the YouTube linked in my bio. Drop a subscription if you're watching on YouTube. We are trying to get to 500 subscribers. No, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We just hit 500 subscribers. So, my people. We've gone from 200. I think we were on 250 before we started streaming, and in 3 days we've gone up to 500. So I massively appreciate the support. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But look, that's pretty much it for what we had to talk about in terms of what I had prepared to talk about. So now we'll just vibe with some questions in the chat. Get your questions in the chat, and we'll have a bit of a convo. Actually, no. One thing I did want to talk about was Haaland. So after all of this, Haaland could be out for weeks. He's being assessed ahead of the Liverpool game, so there's a chance he even plays tomorrow, let alone being out for weeks. So yeah, as expected, there's probably very little wrong with him, and he will certainly be back in time for the Arsenal game. But it is what it is. You know, we don't have to play these games. Well, I think Arteta probably is playing these games. But there we go. Rodri is overrated. Yeah, Rodri is an exceptionally good player. I think if you look at the stats when he plays for City, he is very, very good. But I don't like him. And I know he's humble, but I just don't like him. No, I've not had any luck on the ticket exchange yet. The ticket exchange this week has been worse than ever. Alon said in the YouTube chat, what do you think the club should do with the tickets problem? And I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know, because this week has been terrible. Like, the ticket exchange is so barren. I've barely seen any tickets come up, and the ones that have come up, I've not been quick enough. Mafney owns. You mentioned you've been to every home game this season. Are you a silver member? What's the quickest way to become a silver member? Great stream, by the way. No, I'm a red member. So if you're a silver member, the tickets go on sale to you earlier than if you're a red member. So there's just basically, you're not guaranteed a ticket if you're a silver member, because there's an allocation of tickets go on sale to silver members. And because there's fewer silver members than red members, you've got a far bigger chance of getting one if you're a silver member, and then a much smaller amount go on sale to red members later on. I'm a red member, and I think I've got tickets when they've actually gone on sale 4 times this season. And I mean, how many times have we played at home this season? In the Premier League, we've played 14 times at home this season. I think 4 of them I got when they went on sale. So the other 10 I've had to use the ticket exchange. And so far, I've been successful every time. But it can take hours and hours and hours. Gunner King, welcome. Welcome. Hero. I've seen Wolves tickets being sold for 26k. Yeah, I mean, if you buy a ticket for 28 grand, then, well, fair play to you, because you've got 28 grand to spend on an Arsenal ticket. Kay, thank you for the follow on TikTok. Yeah, spam the screen while refreshing on the exchange. That is the plan, but even then, it's apparently. So according to Arsenal, sometimes there have been up to 300 people refreshing the site at the same time. So one ticket comes up and you got 300 people going for it. It's brutal. It is brutal. People will be remortgaging their house just to watch Arsenal win the league. I mean, genuinely. I will be on my knees for a brand to get me to the Wolves game, because they get all the corporate tickets. All these big businessy people, they hoard all of the corporate tickets, and then us common muck don't get them. Much love from a gunner. Much love back to you. Trossard should play at Anfield. I disagree. Do I disagree? No, I disagree. Jesus was chaotic against Liverpool in the first game. Would it be worth 28 grand if we win the league, Smith Rowe scores the winner in the 94th minute, and 5 handball calls and a Ramsdale penalty save? I mean, it would be. If I had 28 grand to spend on it, it would be worth it. It would be rude not to play Jesus on Easter Sunday. It would be rude not to play Jesus on Easter Sunday. How does religion work again? He rises on Easter, right? Jesus is risen on Easter. Am I right? Sorry, I'm not religious. He dies at Christmas and then rises at Easter, right? So it is. I think that's right. Jesus is rising at Easter. Jesus is risen on Easter. Yes. Oh, it's all falling into place. Oh, he was born at Christmas. Sorry, I thought he died at Christmas. When does he die? Oh, he dies on Friday. Oh, yeah, he'd have been dead for a long time if he came back at Easter and died at Christmas, wouldn't he? Yeah. So he dies on Friday. Got it. What do you think of our links to Bellingham? There's no way on earth that we signed back. There's more chance of actual Jesus rising on Easter Sunday than us getting Bellingham. I'll tell you that for free. Trossard did smash Liverpool at Anfield. Yeah, to be fair, Trossard did score a hat-trick at Anfield. But it's fine. We can bring him off the bench. 2-0 down, half an hour to go, bring him off the bench, hat-trick, win 3-2. No problem. No problem whatsoever. But yeah, so Haaland isn't as injured as we thought he might have been, which isn't a surprise. But I still think that in that game tomorrow, I think Liverpool are going to get a draw against Man City. I've just got a feeling, because he might not play tomorrow. Even if he does play tomorrow, he's not trained in nearly 3 weeks. You've got Foden out as well, so there's not much to bring off the bench attacking wise. I've just got a good feeling. And I also think Klopp will. It depends how Klopp feels, and it depends how Liverpool feel about the current title race. But I feel like if I was a Liverpool player and I could stop City winning the title again after City had won 4 of the last 5 against us, I'd want to do it. I'd wanna walk off the pitch at the end of that game tomorrow and be like, have that. Where's your title chances now? But equally, Liverpool away this season have been absolutely abysmal. So, in fact, actually, let's look at the Liverpool away this season. 3 wins, 3 draws, and 7 defeats, and they've only scored 13 goals. So they only average 1 goal a game away from home. For contrast, Arsenal's away form, played 14, won 11, drawn 1, lost 2, scored 28, conceded 9. Our away form's been, all of our form has been good, but that's crazy. So Arsenal away, played 14, won 11. Man City away, played 14, only won 8. And one of them was against us, which is ridiculous. Rory, mate, followed you since 15K. Been amazing to see you grow. You're one of the few content creators who always speaks logic instead of recency bias. I appreciate it. And anyone who's appreciated from anyone who's followed from way back, massive appreciation. The growth's been insane. And the TikTok channel's been amazing. And now we're trying to hand at the old YouTube. So again, if you are on TikTok and you fancy subscribing on YouTube, then the link is in the bio. Come and join us over on YouTube. And Memphis Depay says, Rory, you are so hot. Wow. It is quite warm in front of all these lights, actually. It is a bit toasty. Warder has come in with some negativity. This season, Liverpool have lost all of their 12:30 kickoff games. We don't want this. We don't want this. I'll tell you what, someone's just put something in the TikTok chat that I very, very nearly got baited by. Would you rather watch a tree grow? And then there's another bit, which would have been bad for my career. Where is the dog? Where is the dog? Oh, the dog's not in the room. I'm sorry, Hershey isn't in the room. We need to smash Liverpool. Did you see Morley and Paddy's best Prem 11 post yesterday? What a joke. Yeah, I don't know how they kept a straight face. So if you missed it, Jonathan Morley and Paddy Murphy did a best Prem 11. And yeah, I don't know how they kept in character for that one. Tears of laughter. Saka for I don't disagree. We can't get a fully fit squad. True, but who can? Realistically, no one's had a fully fit squad this season at any point, really. We have actually, overall, I know when Ten Hag said it, we got annoyed. Generally, our injury luck hasn't been bad this season. Certainly not as bad as last season. I'm going to be the biggest Liverpool fan tomorrow and then be their worst rival. Well, I'm hoping to be at the Emirates. Tomorrow whilst that game ends. And I'm hoping that there will be cheers around the stadium as the full-time whistle blows. But we'll see. Yeah, they named 7 Liverpool players. Yeah, no United players, and picked Kane over Rory. It was poor. It was poor. Foden's out. Hopefully Haaland's out for a game. Point, happy days. Yeah, I think if Liverpool can get a draw, that's huge for Arsenal. I think most people are looking at it. If you look at the games between now and the end of the season, most people are looking at City saying, "Oh, they're going to win 10 out of the 11 games they've got left." I don't think they will, and I think hopefully that starts with a draw tomorrow. But we will see. In terms of the stream, I think we'll call it a day there. It's been a very good stream. Massive appreciation to everyone who's been watching on YouTube and on TikTok. You're all heroes, and fingers crossed for a massive result tomorrow. Finas, how do I plan on getting a ticket for tomorrow? I'm going to keep spamming the ticket exchange all night, all morning, and if worse comes to worse, I will. I don't know what I'll do. I'll just turn up and see if anyone's got a ticket. There's ticket touts outside the stadium. If I have to rely on one of them, I might even do that. But we will see. Anyway, massive appreciation to everyone who was here. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. Please like the video on YouTube as well. It massively helps. Drop a like if Arsenal are going to beat Leeds. And yeah, fingers crossed we get that result tomorrow. But thank you for watching and have a fantastic evening. There we go. TikTok.